Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome to today's Sunday service. I think we're all ready.
Okay, let's start with salutation to the Triple Gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Okay, let's put our palms together and partake in the offerings to the Buddha. The offering of the 5 items allows us to express our gratitude to the Buddha and serves as a symbol to help us remember the teachings. Please join in and read the verses together. Offering of light. Light symbolizes wisdom. May the light of Dhamma dispel the darkness of ignorance. Offering of incense. Incense symbolizes the fragrance of pure moral conduct. This reminds us to cultivate good conduct. Offering of water. Water symbolizes purity, clarity, and calmness. It reminds us to practice the Buddha's teachings, to cleanse one's mind, which is full of desires, ill will, and delusion, to attain the state of purity. Offering of fruits. Fruits symbolize the ultimate fruit of enlightenment, which is our goal. They also remind us that all actions will have their effects. Offering of flowers. Flowers symbolize impermanence. The freshness, fragrance, and beauty of flowers are impermanent. This reminds us that we should all live in the present. Remembering thus, we should reduce our craving and attachment. Let us pay homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. We chant these verses to take the 3 refuges. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. We chant these verses to observe the 5 precepts. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Kame Sumichachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sura Meraya Majja Pamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Buddha. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manusanang Buddho Bhagavati. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Dhamma. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipassiko Opanaiko Pachat Tang Veditabo Vinyuhiti. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Sangha. Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho. Ujupatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho. Nyaya patipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Sami cipatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Yaditang cattari purisa yugani atta purisa pugala. Esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaniyo anuttarang punyaketang lokasati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, good morning. Thank you. Beautiful response. Good morning. Okay, Indonesian service, I believe. This is by Bante Attadiro Thera, Finding Balance Between Ambition and Contentment. Today, Sunday, 17th, okay, at 2 to 4, do join in if you're free. And if you understand Bahasa Indonesia, do join in. Next week, we have a special talk by Dr. Koh Lee Wen. She's a rheumatologist at Tan Tock Seng Hospital, and she has been volunteering for the Dhamma for the longest time. So please come and hear her wise words next week on our Sunday service in Buddhist Fellowship. Buddhist Fellowship presents an outing to Bukit Brown Cemetery with Singapore's heritage expert, Mr. Raymond Goh. So please come register. It's next Saturday at 8:15 to 12 p.m. Please come and learn about our rich culture and heritage of Singapore. BF Youth will be having their Saturday sessions and also our Indonesian service. So do go on our website, Facebook, and also look at the posters for further details. And also BF Junior Youth starting on Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. Also do look at our website for further details. A whole lineup of fantastic sessions. Rahula Connects for BF Junior aged 7 to 9 and 10 to 12 on Zoom on 10th and 24th April. So bring your little kids along. Yin Yoga for meditation, Zoom only, 7th April to 9th June. Stretch out and be mindful. Happy workout. I shall let Sister Eileen introduce her core program called the Happy Workout. It's been going on for many years. It's one of the most popular programs in Buddhist Fellowship. So, Sister Eileen, would you like to introduce your Happy Workout?
Okay, Happy Workout is a dual task activity for seniors to prevent the onset of dementia and frailty through falls. So, but at the moment it's in Zoom. If we have enough people on site, Sis Joycelyn is willing to come and teach on site. But at the moment, only a handful of people are coming on site. So at the moment, it's through Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Eileen. And also help build your Dhamma home. Do contribute to BF if you can. We are solely run by donations, so we appreciate any amount. And today, we are very honored to have Sister Ratna Juita for our Sunday service, as our Sunday service speaker. But first of all, let's welcome her to do a short session on mindfulness. Sister Ratna, maybe about 10 minutes, she will lead us through a mindfulness session. No need to clap.
Okay, good morning, Dhamma brothers and sisters. How are you today? Good, very good. Very nice to see all of you here. So let's start our session today by a few moments of mindfulness. So I'd like to invite you to just sit in your comfortable position. You can close your eyes. And just imagine there is this invisible string that pulls you from the top. Make your body straight, but not tense. Your shoulders down. And take a few deep breathing in. And breathing out. If you think of something that probably bothering you from the entire week, just put it aside and just bring your attention back to this moment again. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, you can sigh. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. And I'd like to invite you to just bring your attention to your body. Pay attention to your toes. Just relax your toes. Wiggle your toes, your feet. Just relax. Slowly moving up to your leg, your calf muscles. Just notice if there is any sensations around that area. Slowly moving up to your knees. Relax your knees. And just appreciate these knees and leg who has been supporting us, our body, to walk, to do things, to help others. Thank you. And slowly moving up to your thigh. And just notice your thigh touching your cushion or your chair. Slowly moving up to your spine. Just notice your spine. If there are any tension around your spine, just relax. You can take a deep breath. And as you breathe out, you just breathe out through your spine. Slowly we move up to your stomach area, your internal organs, our heart, our different blood vessels inside our body, and just send some love towards this area who have been supporting us to process our meal, to give nutrition to the entire body. Thank you. Now slowly moving across to your hands, your fingers, your arms, and just relax this part of your body and bring appreciation to this part of the body who have supporting us to do our day-to-day activities, to help others and to help yourself. Thank you, hands. And now let's slowly moving up to your shoulders area. Around this shoulders area, sometimes we do have some tension, maybe because of stress, or you spend too much time in front of a computer, you feel very stiff. I just want to invite you to just relax. You can take a deep breathing, and as you breathe out through that shoulders area. And slowly moving up to your throat, through your upper body and hair and head. Relax your forehead, your eyebrow. Relax your eyes. Relax your ears, your nose, chin, cheek, your mouth, and just put a smile on your mouth. And just notice how this little change affects how you feel. And now I'd like to invite you to just bring someone, imagine someone that you love sitting across you, in front of you. Can be anyone that you love. And just imagine you are sending some love to this person, and the other person sending some love towards you as well. And you feel this feeling of metta inside your heart. And I want to invite you to just breathe in that metta feeling and just let it feel throughout your body, lighting up the entire body, energize you, and heal whatever tension that you may have in your body. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, you just imagine this metta light traveling throughout your body, energizing you. And breathing in. As you breathe out, I want to invite you to share this metta light to the people that is here with all of us at Buddhist Fellowship. And just share this love to all the people here that is sharing the space with us. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, then share. And in the next in-breath, I want to invite you to just share this beautiful metta light to the entire building of Yo's building. And in your next out-breath, just share this loving kindness to the entire building, filling up the entire building with the loving kindness. And then in your next in-breath, I want to invite you to share this metta light to all the people around this neighborhood area. May they all be well and happy. May they be free from suffering. And may they be well and happy. Breathing in again, as you breathe out, I want you to imagine this beautiful metta light spreading through the entire Singapore. And let's wish all of the people here in Singapore to be well and happy. May all be free from mental and physical suffering. May all be well. May all be happy. And in your next in-breath, I want you to share this beautiful metta light to the entire countries, all countries in the world. With all the metta that we have accumulated, let's share all this metta to the entire world. May the entire world be free from suffering, be free from war, be free from COVID. May all be well and happy. And one more time, let's spread this loving kindness to the entire universe. May the entire universe, all beings, near and far, may all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all be free from physical and mental suffering. And now I want to invite you to just bring your attention back to this moment, the moment that you set aside for yourself. And I want to invite you to just set an intention. What would you like to be for the next 1 hour together? And take a few deep breathing. And when you are ready, you can slowly and gently open your eyes. How do you feel? Good? Or you feel sleepy?
Thank you, Sister Sister Ratna. Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
My eyebrows have never felt so relaxed. So it is my very proud pleasure to introduce Sister Ratna. Sister Ratna Juita is a TEDx speaker, facilitator, and lifelong learner. And hopefully, we can learn from you to be lifelong learners as well. She facilitates training for corporates, universities, schools, professional organizations, and non-profit organizations in the areas of mindfulness, well-being, personal mastery, and EQ. Some of her clients are Yokogawa, Grab, Visa, PayPal, SAP, Mediterranean Shipping Company, Singtel, Singapore Project Management Institute, CPA Australia, and including educational institutions like the Singapore Institute of Management, the NTU, and NUS. And the list goes on. Ngee Poly, Nanyang Girls' School, to name a few. She went through a transformational journey through mindfulness practice and now dedicates her life to empower others to do the same. And she has also co-authored a book called Women Empowered, Personal Journeys to Become Empowered Women. And more importantly, she has volunteered at the Buddhist Fellowship since 2007. Served the Served in the EXCO in 2014, and the former president of the Buddhist Fellowship, Toastmasters in 2012, and Brahm Center Toastmasters in 2015. Simply amazing. And I think you've won awards for Toastmasting, right? Have you?
Yes.
Yes. Clap, clap, clap. Thank you. And she has also been giving back to the community by grooming youth leaders and facilitating workshops for youth in Buddhist societies in Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. So, without further ado, I'm very happy to welcome Sister Ratna. So, Sister Ratna, to start off with, I forgot. She has also been interviewed by Eugene Low in CNA 938. So, congratulations. So, to start off, Sister Ratna, how did you become a Buddhist?
Thank you, Sister Kim, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you so much as well for Buddhist Fellowship for inviting me to be here. It's such a privilege and honor. Have been volunteering since 2007, so it's been a while. Maybe I'll just share a bit more about how I become a Buddhist. I actually was brought up in a Taoist family. So yeah, my father always brought me and my sis to go to the temple every week last time to pray. So growing up, they kind of like teach me about, let's go to the temple and pray to, the bodhisattva and all that. So that's how I grew up. And I still remember when I was a kid, very young, I always go to the Sunday service, but I only aim to get the tidbits. That's my Sunday motivation. So it was just like for play and all that. So I didn't really have much probably knowledge about Buddhism, I should say. And then when I was young, also my parents sent me to a Catholic school because back then in Indonesia, the better schools are the Catholic schools. So ever since kindergarten, I learned more about Catholic more than I learned about Buddhism, right? So I go to church more than I go to temple. I read more Bible than Sutta. And to the extent that one day I told my dad, I say, I want to convert. I want to convert to become Catholic. And of course, he was very surprised. And he told me that once you are 17, I will let you decide which religion that you want to follow. So I said, fine, that's fair enough. So I just follow him. And I think growing up as a teenager as well, I faced different kind of challenges. And I was also, in a way, in the quest of looking for ways to also navigate my challenges as well as a teenager. So one of my friends brought me into like a youth service back in Indonesia. It's every Saturday, so I went there and listened to the talk. And I can't remember exactly, but I think the first talk I attended was about the law of karma. I got like, oh, very interesting. It triggers my curiosity mind. So from that one visit, it leads me to visiting the youth service every week without fail. My father always sent me to the temple and all that. And in fact, over there, right, those people who came for the Buddhist service are the kids from the Buddhist school. So as part of like a Buddhist studies, they need to visit a temple to learn about the Dhamma, and they need to actually collect a stamp. So that's what they did in the Buddhist youth service. And because I came from a Catholic school and I don't need that, right? And then the exco, the volunteer has been observing me coming like quite regularly. So one day they stopped me. They say, hey, Rana, we noticed that you have been coming like very regularly. And I was just wondering if you want to volunteer with us. So that's how it started. Yeah, so my journey of learning more about Buddhism and volunteering started there. And so I didn't convert to Catholic and kind of like continue my journey of in volunteering in the Buddhist organization. So I started with organizing like a youth service, also helping up, serving the members, and organizing different kind of activities for youth. That's how I started. And then when I came to Singapore, I think about 16 years back, I was struggling, of course, to adjust to the new environment here in Singapore. And one of my cousin's friend introduced me to Buddhist Fellowship. So that was still back in Eaton House. So at Paya Lebar, so it's been a while. And so that's how I started to continue on my Dhamma learning. And then at that time as well, during my uni days, a couple of friends actually set up this like a Buddhist Buddhist youth at SIM, Buddhist community at SIM. So they asked me, hey, would you like to be part of this? So I say, oh, sure. So I was also being part of the Buddhist, group in SIM, it's SIM Buddhist Bhawana, to actually run some of the youth programs. We run youth retreats as well. We invite different speakers to share about the Dhamma, and stuff like that. So that's how I kind of dive deeper into learning more about Buddhism. And I think in 2014, there was this refuge taking ceremony here at BF, and Bhante Ratanasara was the one leading the ceremony, right? And he shared with us that no one is Buddhist by birth, but we are Buddhist by practice. And he proceeded to share about what is the significance. Significance of taking refuge. And I was being given a name, Bodhi Ratna. I was like, wow, that's so beautiful, right? Bodhi means perfect wisdom, and Ratna, my name, means jewel. And I was like, wow, that was wonderful names. And I was just inspired to kind of live up to the name that is being given to me. And reflecting back about my own personal journey of, practicing the Dhamma and learning more about Buddhism, it is true, the practice that we all have been practicing are something that, bring about the change in our lives. So that's how, because of that, it also increased my faith in the Buddha Dhamma and continue practicing it, because the practice itself is literally changed my life for the better. Yeah.
Thank you, Sis Ratna. I understand that during your childhood, you also faced some difficulties regarding public speaking.
Yeah. Yes, so I used to be a very shy girl. When I was 13 years old, back then, right, I had this like a final year English oral test. So I had to recite poetry in front of the class. And I was like, I studied so hard, like the entire week. But because I was so nervous, right, I suddenly froze. And I couldn't even say a single word. So it was so bad, right, to the extent that I failed my exam. And that particular incident was so painful, I should say, and it creates a trauma for me. So every time I had to speak in front of people, right, that image kept popping up, and it was so real. It was really like I was reliving that events again. And it was so painful that it totally crashed my self-confidence. Yeah. It was very painful. So because of that, I was also looking out for ways how I can overcome this fear of public speaking, my speaking anxiety as well. So that brought me into learning more about Buddhism and learning more about meditation as well. And the meditation practice really helps me a lot in overcoming my speaking anxiety, especially when I wanted to speak up and all that. And it was just so, of course it takes a long time for me to, heal from that traumatic experience of public speaking I had. But it was so life-changing, I should say, to the extent that I could never imagine myself doing what I'm doing currently, from hosting events to weddings and, doing some training and doing some speaking as well and getting paid to speak, right? it was definitely beyond my wildest expectations. So it was very, a huge transformation for me. And I think one of the thing that really helps me also, it was being part of the Toastmasters, right? That really helps me a lot to provide that safe environment for me to be able to share without being judged, because the Toastmasters community is like quite, they are very, very positive and very encouraging as well. So then when Buddhist Fellowship wanted to start a Toastmasters club here, and Brother Jerry asked me like, after Brother Jerry's first batch, and then he invited me like, hey Rana, would you like to lead the Toastmasters? And I was like, sure, a bit reluctantly. But I think that really helps me a lot in building my confidence. And in fact, the Buddhist Fellowship Toastmasters was set up because we wanted to actually groom service leaders, right? So because of that, we managed to groom quite a couple of people, members, as to lead as a, service leader, including Brother Rudy there. And of course, a lot more people who step up to also serve the, becoming a service leader as well. So that's how I started. And so in Toastmasters, I organized different public speaking workshops and inviting different speakers so that we can also learn to improve our communication skills and public speaking skills. And those members who also aspire to be a teacher or Dhamma speaker, right? Also learn from there as well. Yeah, so from then on, from Buddhist Fellowship Toastmasters, I moved on to Brahm Center Toastmasters. That time, Angie also came to approach me to rebuild the Toastmasters Club together with Sister Eiling. And I think over there we also try to introduce the practice of mindfulness, right? Because the mindfulness practice helps us to be more at ease while speaking and to be more present when we are speaking as well. So we started with like a very short mindfulness practices to introduce our members and our visitors as well. And people kind of like it because they never see any Toastmasters who does mindfulness in the club. So it becomes our unique selling proposition lah. And then people came because they kind of like the mindfulness practice and all that. Yeah. So that's how I started. And then after that, one of my friends asked me hey Ratna, I think this is very interesting. Why don't you share about your own personal experience of how mindfulness practice helps you to overcome your fear of public speaking, because it's so relatable to the Toastmasters community, right? So that's how I started my very, very virgin maiden workshop. Yeah, about mindfulness practice and how it helped me to overcome my fear of public speaking. So from that one maiden workshop, it leads to a snowball effect. I got invited to different Toastmasters club, to schools, to universities, professional organizations, to really share about what is this mindfulness is all about. Yeah, last time maybe it's started to become more popular, so they are curious to learn more about it. And through that rounds of doing trainings, conducting talks and all that, I actually discover my passion in facilitating the session, because the practice itself has been so life transforming for me. And it is very close to my heart because it brings so much inner growth in my own personal development, right? So that's how I started. And from doing pro bono workshop to getting paid to actually conduct this kind of workshop. So I was like, oh, there are demands on this. So that's how it started, really. Yeah, I've never really have like, oh, okay, I want to teach about mindfulness. Never really have that in mind as I started on this quest of just helping myself to improve my or overcome my fear of public speaking. Yeah, so that's how it is.
Wow, Sis Ratna, that's fantastic. But on the way, I understand there were some struggles as well. And then can you tell us the story about your dad? And then I think there's a monk that helped you and taught you about mindfulness at the very beginning. And your struggles in Singapore, I think that was a very touching part for me. Okay, which one? Maybe you can tell us the story about your dad and how you came to Singapore.
Okay.
And also I understood that you had trouble with English in Singapore, and to get where you are now, it took a lot of struggle and hard work, isn't it? Because I understand that English was a problem for you.
Yes. So I think I came from a humble family. So my parents, my dad especially, working very hard to fund my education in Singapore. So I think I remember those days when during my school holidays, and then he sent me to the airport, and then it was very early morning at about 6 a.m. So he was just commenting something. I just feel a bit emotional here. He was just commenting something that, hey, Rana, your future is going to be bright just like this sunlight, And I felt very touched at that moment because it was because my dad worked very hard to fund my education in Singapore, and I think at that moment it gives me a lot of inspiration or motivation to really do well in my study and in my life as well. Thank you.
I remember when you told the story to 938, I cried at this part. This is so touching. Your dad is such a fantastic person.
Thank you. And yeah, so I think my dad's comments brought a lot of
encouragement
encouragement for me to do well in whatever I wanted to do.
And that was when you were at the airport going to Singapore?
Yes.
Right.
But it was during my holiday lah.
I see.
So, and after that, of course, when I came to Singapore as well, it was not easy because English is not my first language. So I was struggling quite hard to really blend into the culture, into even my study as well. So I have to, study triple hard, understanding the language and also understanding the subject itself. So it was quite challenging. So how I started learning English was actually through, of course, I don't have much. Last time during schools, I always mix around with the Indonesian, so I cannot really improve my English, right? And when I come to BF, that's where I actually learn more about interacting with Singaporeans. And I still remember the most growth I have in speaking English was when I actually joined a network marketing company. So yeah, basically I was being forced to do a sales presentation. And that's how I really swim deeper into this and have to really practice to speak English well and to do a presentation. So that's where I learned a lot. And then whenever there is any opportunities for me to also speak up, right? Like for example, in the Buddhist community in SRM, like hosting events and all that, I would volunteer myself, even though deep down within, right, I just feel so afraid of, even putting myself up here. Yeah, but I think it was because of, my dad's encouragement and really putting growth much more or beyond the fear itself really got me into, saying yes to opportunities, even though it can be very scary for me. Yeah.
I can attest to that, Sister Ratna, because every time I ask you to do something like, please take the meditation, yes, I can. Please do the interview, yes, I can. So you've been really, really fantastic. Sister Ratna, on the journey to become a public speaker, I think there are also other challenges that you face. For instance, there was a car accident and then the laptop incident.
Okay. Yes. To be honest, my journey on embarking on the public speaking space has been not the easiest way. Yeah, so I faced a lot of challenges. I remember I was during my previous work, right, I was being given the chance to actually do a training. It was a very last minute training engagement. So I was being, they informed me like today at 12, the training is tomorrow. So I have not conducted any of those training before, but it was a public speaking, like a presentation training. But the Toastmasters training really helps me a lot to kind of prepare that. But I don't have much time to prepare for that particular training. So I came with a lot of self-doubt because I didn't have much time to prepare. And I think the participants kind of sense it. Right, and then during break time, right? Oh, and then the Murphy's Law happened. Whatever could go wrong actually did go wrong. I forgot my laptop battery. It was a one full day workshop, and I got so panicked, right? And I was looking out for help, and lucky that my boss then, right, was there to support me. So I told him, can I borrow your laptop? During break, I will go back to take my laptop battery. So he lent me his laptop, and I started the presentation not in a very good start, of course. So there was a complaint actually from one of the participants. And I was like, oh no, this is my first training engagement and I got this complaint, right? So my boss called me and he asked me, he said, are you okay? Can you manage it, And at that point in time, I asked myself the question, what do I really want to create out of this experience, right? I wanted to create a great experience for the participants, right? For them to learn something from the 2 days workshop. So, and then I choose to actually shift how I facilitate the session. And at the end of the session, in fact, 2 of the participants, and this is actually it was quite a tricky training because the participants was like quite range, you know. They are like from the youngest to the oldest. I have like 80 years old participants in my class, and it was quite difficult to manage in a way, like in terms of the dynamic and all that. So it took me quite a lot of effort to facilitate the session. But I think the people who can really feel that I really put in effort, right, they came to actually really thank me at the end of the session. So it was just very meaningful encounter I had with that particular first training engagement. And talking about another incident which is very much nerve-wracking in my so basically I was being invited to actually do a training for ITE students, and on my way to the event, it was a lot of challenges. So I think the MRT broke down. I was trying to book a cab and I couldn't get it, and I got a bit panicked lah. So I called the organizer. I said, I think I will be very late, you know. So he assured me not to worry, just, you know, trying your best to reach the place. I will manage the kids here, like the students here. So in the end, I managed to get a cab, and on my way to the school, I almost got into a car accident. So basically the car in front of me, right, it was raining, and the car in front of me like took I don't know what happened, but it was like, had like a 90-degree turn, like just very near, and almost banged into the side of the highway. So it was so scary, right? Lucky that the taxi driver managed to brake. Otherwise, instead of going to the school, I went to the hospital. It was so, yeah, nerve-wracking, I should say. My heart almost jumped out. And then I was like, I felt overwhelmed with anxiety and all that. And at that moment, I have to switch my state of mind into a state of mind where I have to deliver a training, right? So it was like, wow, this is challenging. So I went to my favorite place before I usually do my training, which is a restroom. And I do my ritual there. So of course, I do some kind of breathing exercise, and I also do a Wonder Woman pose. So basically a Wonder Woman pose is a Wonder Woman pose. I don't know how to. Okay, I will demonstrate.
Can we everybody stand up? Everybody stand up. We are all, and can we invite office people to also stand up if you're listening? Brother Chiha, Brother Jenny, please stand up. We're doing the Wonder Woman pose. And these are the ways she does her calm herself before a presentation and to remove negative thoughts. So I think this is something we can learn. And I think there are other methods, like she's going to teach us the excellence circle, the Wonder Woman pose, and a few other tips. So I'm quite interested in this.
There is a science behind it. So there is this Harvard psychologist called Amy Cuddy. She shared about by doing this kind of like power pose, right? Basically, it's a like open gestures pose, like the Wonder Woman pose. Can we all do it together? For 2 minutes, it actually increased our confidence. Yeah. So don't believe what I said. Try to do it yourself. It really helps me a lot. Yeah, so I did that for 2 minutes, and of course I also do some breathing exercise, and I also do a circle of excellence. This is like my own personal practice where I actually imagine myself that I step into this circle of excellence where I felt most confident, where I felt most empowered, and yeah, that's where I would be able to, you know, speak up and, you know, show up with more courage and confidence. Yeah.
So let's everybody step into the circle of confidence from the old you to the new excellent you. Yeah, it feels good.
So usually I will do a kind of like a visualization practice, but I don't think I will do that here. But usually I will just imagine myself that what kind of like the ideal futures that I wanted to create, right? And then really reliving that moments that I wanted to create at this present moment. So that circle of excellence is where I activate that state of confidence, that state of empowered that I wanted to relive in my session itself. Yeah, so it's kind of like giving me so much power in a way. Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone.
And Sister Ratna, what breathing exercises? Are there any other rituals that you do?
Yes, so the breathing exercises, because a lot of time when we feel anxious, right, or when we feel fear, all of these emotions that we feel is actually stored in our body. So in order for me to, you know, ease my anxiety and tension, I will do like what I lead earlier on the body scanning practice. Basically, I scan the whole body and then just feel where is this feeling resides in my body. Yeah, for example, if I feel anxious and fear, then usually it's around that chest area or around the shoulders area. So I will take a deep breathing and I will just release the tension around that where I feel the most sensations or the tingling sensations, yeah. Or otherwise I can do some humming exercise. So like because as I hum, right, the vibration actually travels through my body. It kind of like is the anxiety and tensions. Yeah.
Shall we try that?
Sure, let's do that. So just breathing in, as you breathe out, you just hum, and then just close your mouth, and then just notice what are the sensations you feel in your body, right? So breathe in, breathe out, and hum. Do you feel any sensation? Yes, yeah. So, yeah, it really helps a lot. So those are some practices I did whenever I feel nervous, I feel anxious.
And
yeah.
before your presentations?
Yes, wow. Yes, okay. Yeah, yeah.
And also, I think you do some chanting as well, some mantras.
Oh, incantation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those were the earlier days where I started to kind of like, because I came from all this traumatic experience of public speaking was in a way like not easy to overcome, right? So, and it created a lot of limiting beliefs, and it was challenging. So for me to be able to change my mental state, I need to also rewire my brain. Instead of like, thinking about all those limiting beliefs, I actually do a bit of like incantation practice. So it's basically where I repeated more empowering mantras, right? Like, I can do it, whatever it is that works for me, like, yeah. So it helps me a lot in, like whenever I run, I will just keep repeating that mantras, again and again on like secretly lah. Otherwise, people will say you siao ah. Yeah, but it really helps me a lot to, change my mental state and, move into a more empowering beliefs. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic because our mental negative thoughts are actually not ours, and then so we can actually choose our response to these negative states, and you chose it in a very nice way to deal with these negative thoughts. I think that's something to learn. And I think there was one boy who really liked your workshop. He said,
Yes. That coming back to the ITE stories, right? Probably haven't finished that. So I came to the ITE super late, and I think the students are also a bit restless lah. So I started my training, and then it was actually one of my difficult participants as well. Actually, some of the kids are like running around, they talk to each other. And as a trainer, right, I just felt like I hope there is a door that I can run away from, And it got me to think like, am I so boring, All these kids are like not paying attention to me. And then in the end, I decided to change my approach and then engaging them more, asking questions, doing some activities and all that. And then, so I facilitate the Circle of Excellence practice, where it's a visualization practice to actually get them to imagine their ideal future, what they wanted to achieve, right? So I facilitated that Circle of Excellence visualization practice. And at the end of the session, there is this one boy came to me and said that, hey, Ratna, thank you so much for doing this for us. I thought your story was very inspiring. And during that visualization practice, I saw a lot of doors open up for me. I saw hope. And I felt goosebumps. And I almost teared, actually. Yeah. I almost teared. And I think that particular moment was meaningful for me because it completely changed how I look at, public speaking or even, trainings or, putting myself out here, Because a lot of times we always too focused on ourselves, right? And we probably forget about the people and that incident really shifted my perspective about how I look at public speaking. No matter how many people in the room, right? It can be 20, 30, 100 people. But if it's just one people that got your message, right? That like click with that message and somehow probably change their life for the better, I think that's good enough. So yeah, I think that becomes like my guidance in a way. In every situation I brought myself into, if I can only inspire one people, right? I think that's really good enough, yeah. We cannot, save all the starfish in the sea, but if we can only save one starfish, I think that's really, yes, exactly.
Exactly what the Buddha did, isn't it? If a person really needs a Dhamma, he would go and speak. That's fantastic. Sister Ratna, also, I understand when you first came to Singapore, you also went into depression because of your English difficulties. How did you get out of that?
I think the meditation really helps me a lot. I mean, the depression, not to the extent that like I want to commit suicide, not that kind. It's just that I was having difficulties in, blending in, coping with my studies and all that. Actually, my school performance was really bad. Yeah, so I had to, double down on my study, and of course the meditation practice really helps a lot. Breath meditation. I came to also learn from different teachers at BF as well, from different monks, from different Dhamma teachers as well. And I think what really helps also the Kalyana Mita, the spiritual friends that I have around me really help me a lot in that healing process as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Sister Ratna. That was fantastic. Maybe we can quickly go through. I love the TEDx talk. Maybe we can go through the bet in yourself. How do we bet on ourselves?
Okay. Maybe I'll just give a bit of context for that TED talk that I did last year. So basically, the topic is bet on yourself. So I share that every day, right, when we live, we actually bet on ourselves, because every day we make decisions, right? And every decisions we make comes with a certain cost and risk. Like, for example, change job, or committing into a new relationship, or, having kids, and different path or different decisions that we make comes with a certain cost and risk. And since we have to constantly make decisions, right, it is, I equate that as really like a betting on ourselves. Why don't we make the best on the betting itself? So the bet, BET, is actually an acronym that stands for B, believe in ourselves. E stands for embracing our imperfections with kindness. And T stands for take responsibility for our mistakes. So yeah, basically I share about my own personal journey of also battling with this public speaking trauma, and how the mindfulness practice helps me a lot in navigating those challenges. And yeah, so, and I think in my journey of healing as well, it takes a lot of, because our human mind is just so interesting, right? We maybe without realizing we self-sabotage ourselves. And I think the practice, especially the loving kindness practice, really tremendously helped me a lot in this journey, because I keep beating myself many times, but the loving kindness practice helps me to self-soothe myself, right? Knowing that, hey, it's okay, everyone is making mistakes, right? But I think it's really important to really see about the growth instead of being perfect, right? So really embracing the imperfections in every one of us. We all have our imperfections, right? And sometimes when I walk into this path, I need to see those parts of myself that I may not like it, And it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of, we need a lot of love and kindness to be able to face it, because it is not easy, right? Yeah. So, yeah, loving kindness practice has been very, very helpful to me in navigating those challenges as well. And I just remember this, talking about loving kindness, about last year, during my birthday month. I was inspired by this practice from a friend. So he did 30 days gratitude letter practice. So basically for 30 days, I write one gratitude letter to the person that make an impact in my life or has helped me in certain way. And not only that, I get to actually read it for them. yeah, it was quite a interesting practice, I should say. So I thought it's a birthday month and I wanted to do something meaningful for me and for the people who has given me life and who has supported me in my growth journey. So I did that, and I reached out to some of my friends, teachers, Dhamma teachers, also my family as well. And I should say that practice is really very much, for me especially. So when I call a couple of friends, call a couple of friends and say that, hey, I wrote a gratitude letter for you and I wanted to read it for you. And they were like, what? Right. I've never received any gratitude letter from anyone. So it was like quite an interesting experience that we both shared in that call. And then I think the practice itself really helped me to appreciate life more, appreciate the people, my Kalyana Mita even more. And I think, that love and appreciation and the loving kindness practice, in a way, really helps a lot in building that self-confidence and, just feeling at ease with myself as well. Yeah, so.
And the continuing critical thoughts that we all have, isn't it? It helps to remove those thoughts.
Yes. I think it's quite difficult to really remove the thoughts because it's already, it's there. It's just that maybe choosing in a more empowering thoughts.
To embrace our imperfections.
That's right.
And then embrace that we are imperfect. And so these thoughts are criticizing me, but I don't have to believe in them. I can choose other thoughts.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Sister Ratna. You are also a fantastic volunteer for Buddhist Fellowship. How do we get started volunteering for any organization? How do we start volunteering? What drives you?
What drives me? I think when I started on this volunteering journey, it was just when I started this because it was my quest to actually overcome my challenges. But I get so much more than that, right? And I think in the process as well, I see when I volunteer and people also benefit from it, I derive joy and fulfillment from the experience itself. So it gives me a lot more confidence, a lot more faith towards the Buddhist, the Buddha Dhamma, and it also helps me to practice what I've learned right from the Buddhist community, and eventually create seeing the change that happens as well. So I think just start where you are. Because every one of us have our own different path, right? And don't really need to compare with anyone or even myself or anyone, but start where you are and just discover. I think voluntary work really helps me to discover more about myself. And then all those training that I conducted, like started pro bono as well, in a way helps me to discover my purpose in a good way. So, and I think one more is really ehipasiko, come and see, right? It's really, the beauty of the Buddhist practice is really so wonderful because we get to come and experience for ourselves, right? So I think, come and try for yourself,
And it's also, the Dhamma is also akaliko. It's timeless, isn't it? Because you put it into practice and the results shown immediately. It's so fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
really akaliko ehipasiko. Really fantastic. Sister Ratna, how can you, I'm not so clear about this. How do you use mindfulness and mindfulness meditation? Yeah, we do breath meditation. How do you do mindfulness to overcome the fear?
Of public speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe before sharing that, I would probably just give a bit of science behind fear, right? So, our human brain is being wired for survival. It's a survival instinct, right? So whenever there is any threat or danger that is being presented to us, it will actually send a signal to this part of our brain called amygdala. So it's like our emergency response. Yes, so when it's being triggered, right, it will actually trigger the fight and flight or freeze response, right? So when this amygdala is being triggered, it will actually release a hormone called cortisol. It's a stress hormone. So this stress hormone, right, is actually very good because it helps us to run away from danger and threat. So you may you probably hear that, when there is any danger and threat, because of this stress hormone, right, it actually, because this release in our body, it actually makes our body, like trigger that stress response in our body, like our heart beats faster, we felt like sweaty, our knee trembled and all that. That was all the stress response. And because of that, it's actually good because we will run away from danger and threat. So you hear that people can actually run as fast as Usain Bolt, right? Or like a grandmother who have a back pain, but because she want to actually help a grandchildren from the fire breakdown, he can actually lift a very heavy furniture. That is so powerful, right? How powerful our human brain can be because of this, survival instinct. And actually, this fear, it's good to actually protect us from danger and threat. But in our modern society, right, it is not so life-threatening like that, right? When was the last time you were being chased by a tiger? Probably hardly, right? Yeah. But I think the stress in this modern society is translated into different way. Like, for example, in public speaking, we actually view this public speaking as a threat because we think that by putting ourselves up here, we have the tendency of being questioned by others. Or if, for example, something wrong with like my laptop battery, or maybe the mic is not working or whatever, or maybe someone asks questions and I cannot answer. So this is, in a way, a perceived threat that we actually created out of public speaking, right? And some other fear that we experience in our life as well, like maybe fear of being rejected, fear of looking bad, fear of change and all that. So when we actually let our stress hormone control this, right? And because all of these fear are all mind-created, mind-made, right? It is just because this fear created is because we are not living in the present. Because we live in the past, like I actually rehearse about the traumatic experience I had like 20 years ago, which is not real, right? And then the what-if scenarios about the future that I created, that created this fear feeling, right? Like, what if the projector breaks down? What if I was not able to answer any questions and all that? So we the fear is created because we are not living in the present. So if the fear is created by our mind, then the mindfulness helps. So how the mindfulness really helps me in overcoming that fear of public speaking is actually, I call this ABC of mindfulness. So the A is awareness. So by practicing mindfulness, I am aware of the emotions that I'm experiencing. So like, I catch my thoughts if I thought about the traumatic experience in the past. I also catch my thought if I catch myself, thinking about the 101 scenarios things can go wrong in my presentation, right? So by actually bringing my attention back to the present moment again, by really living in the present, knowing that, then I do the body scanning practice to really feel the fear, the anxiety in my body. And coming from that space, actually, it helps me a lot to create a more positive relationship with the anxiety, with the fear that comes before speaking. Because fear and anxiety is very normal. We feel fear and we feel anxious because we just want to do good, right? We just want to deliver something good and better for others. And it's very normal to feel anxious because this is something important for us and we wanted to do good, yeah. So I think the mindfulness really helps me to rewire my brain, looking at public speaking as, hey, this is just a platform for me to be able to add values to others, to be able to make maybe a little difference or positive impacts in other people's life, yeah. So that really helps a lot. So the reframing, the awareness of the thoughts that is not serving me well. So that's the first part, A. Then the second part is B, stands for balance. So balance means, because whenever we feel fear and anxiety or any kind of emotions that we experience in our life that probably we don't want to experience, a lot of times we try to resist, right? So whenever there is resistance, it will persist, right? And then, so the mindfulness allows me to actually be with the emotions, to allow the emotions to allow myself to feel the emotions as it is, without even judging whether it's good or bad, whether it's right or wrong, but it's just as it is. And because of that, it helps me to be friend with the emotion, making friends with the emotions itself, that, hey, I'm here for you, Because a lot of times we just feel very self-criticize about ourselves, and by just befriending the emotions itself, right, it gives me the space where I felt like it's okay, it's okay to feel that way, and I just allow the emotions to feel that way, yeah. So that's the B part. And the C is curiosity and care. So how can we look at the emotions with a sense of curiosity and care, not so much about, judging it, but knowing about, like, hey, what is this? I always ask myself whenever I feel that way, right? Like, how is this emotion is trying to tell me, right? Is there any deeper layer behind these emotions? And because of that curiosity and care about feeling that way, right, I kind of like, in a way, learn to mentor my own feelings, to really be there for the feeling itself. Sometimes it probably present because they want to get attention, right? So it's just really a way of me to understand myself even more, to just get curious and to really care about the emotions that I'm experiencing, So that how mindfulness really helps me a lot in changing the narratives about public speaking, being more at ease with the fear, the anxiety that comes before speaking, and creating a much more positive relationship with this, public speaking itself. And eventually,
Thank you, Sister Ratna. That's really good. It actually reminds me of the feeling part of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the reflections and contemplations on feelings. That's simply amazing, using Dhamma to overcome fears. Thank you, Sister Ratna. We are actually out of time, but maybe we can take 2 questions, or one or 2 questions. Any questions for Sister Ratna? Don't worry, she can answer any question. She's got no fear of questions. She has no critical thoughts about herself not being able to answer any question because she can overcome those negative thoughts, so not to worry.
Thank you, Ratna, for your sharing. Very useful for all of us. Just a little sharing about about loving kindness. I would recommend you can borrow this book from the National Library, Loving Kindness by Bhante G. It's very, very good. You can download from the National Library. Then the other thing about your humming, this is a practice I teach my patients. Because in times of COVID, this is a very useful practice for those who have sinus, cough, and all that. You just put humming on YouTube. It increases your nitric oxide. And nitric oxide, it helps to dilate the vessel. So sometimes you don't feel energetic, you do humming. Many videos on humming in the YouTube. And the other thing about anxiety, almost all my patients we teach, because when they come and see us, at home their blood pressure is okay. When they see us, the blood pressure is high. You do abdominal breathing. You just key in abdominal breathing for anxiety and reduce blood pressure. It's very useful. And the other thing that's useful, I find that nowadays with COVID, there's a lot of yoga and Qigong breathing practices. You just key breathing practices for cough. During this period, it's very useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Endorsed by doctor.
Endorsed by doctor. And also Dr. Yo, we can also add the Wonder Woman pose now. Thank you, Sister Ratna. Thank you for the sharing.
So much.
Very practical Buddhism. Thank you so much. So we invite Sister Eileen to close the session. Thank you, Sister Ratna.
Let's say 3 sadhus. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let's close the session with dedication of merits. Let us invite all sentient beings to participate in our quiet merits. Ittavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Let us dedicate the merits of participating in this wholesome Dhamma activity to our departed relatives and friends. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. End of service dedication. I dedicate the merits which I have accumulated to the cultivation of my mind in order to bring happiness and benefits to all sentient beings. I dedicate the merits to my parents, children, spouse, relatives, friends, colleagues, and my adversaries, wishing them long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity. May we never part from the triple gem, and may we always walk the path towards enlightenment. Let us pay respect to the triple gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you everybody. Just for last minute,